GETTY, BARCROFT MEDIAnationalist Ministers have come under fire after axing their flagship report. This is a ridiculous attack from Labour, who as ever just want to talk down Scotland's oil and gas industry in a bid to score cheap political points. Spokesman for Mr Wheelhouse It was used to bolster the SNP's case for breaking up Britain, with former First Minister citing the document as evidence Scotland was on the verge of a second oil boom, but the report has only been published once, in 2015, since the decisive no vote, during which time the global oil price crash triggered widespread job losses. The UK Statistics Authority's Office for Statistics Regulation has now confirmed it has been ditched, with no further bulletin scheduled for publication by the Scottish Government. Energy Minister Paul Wheelhouse insisted his administration had a wealth of information on the industry, with the authority also noting it had published other oil and energy statistics. But Scottish Labour's Lewis MacDonald accused ministers of trying to bury their heads in the sand and actively disowning the sector. Mr MacDonald said, "Since the oil price collapse, we have only had one bulletin, as long ago as 2015. That is simply a disgrace. With thousands of jobs lost and the industry still in recovery, we need as much information as possible on the state of the North Sea. Instead, nationalist ministers have decided to bury their heads in the sand in an attempt to avoid a political humiliation. The SNP should reverse this decision and start helping the oil and gas industry rather than treating it as a political inconvenience." GETTY North Sea revenue rose from £56 million in 2015-16 to £208 million. A spokesman for Mr Wheelhouse said, "This is a ridiculous attack from Labour, who as ever just want to talk down Scotland's oil and gas industry in a bid to score cheap political points. In terms of backing the sector, we are doing everything in our power to support it, but it is the Tory government at Westminster who retain most of the key policy levers when it comes to protecting jobs and investment. While there is no bulletin scheduled for publication at present, the requirement for any analytical bulletins is kept under review, and there is already a wealth of other published information on the industry. The row comes ahead of publication of a long-awaited report by the SNP's Growth Commission, headed by former SNP MSP and RBS economist Andrew Wilson. Last year Mr Wilson said an independent Scotland would have to treat oil revenue as zero revenue, and that it would not be a bonus, as Mr Salmond had claimed.